In your packet, I believe, I haven't had a chance to look through it, but I was told that Paul St. Hillen's kind of history of the beginnings of the network is in there. And so I'm not going to go over that in detail, but just to say that a couple of years ago, Paul, who had started a website called Buddhist Recovery in Australia, which his primary function was reviewing books that were on the topic of Buddhism, 12-step Buddhism and recovery. He emailed me, we've been in touch over those years, and he emailed me and said, what would you think about starting an organization to support this? So I said, okay, if you want to lead that, I will follow. And consequently, had this first gathering at Cannon Beach, Oregon, January of 2008, where we came up with this mission statement and also came up with the plan for this conference. There were, I don't know, 8 or 9 of us there, maybe. And, you know, we started to try to spread the word. We brought in Noah very quickly. And just started to try to figure out what to do. But it's, you know, 6 or 8 people can't make anything happen in this kind of organization. And already we've been strained in terms of our time and money and just energy. Paul particularly put in incredible amounts of energy into keeping this alive. If it weren't for him, this would not be happening. I have to acknowledge that. The rest of the board members, I think I can speak for all of us when I say that we have done a little bit, not a lot. Paul has done a great deal. But the Buddhist Recovery Network will not survive much longer unless the people in this room, some of the people in this room, become really engaged and start to commit some significant amount of energy to it. So that's why you're here. If you thought you came here to learn something or to get something from us, that was a ruse. The doors are locked and you'll be signing up. No, what we want to do is inspire you. We want to inspire you to take your own vision, to find your own vision of what is Buddhist recovery. I mean, that's the title of my talk. What is Buddhist recovery? Do I know? So we want you to get involved, to not just want to get something, but want to give something, which is, of course, the spirit of Buddhism. It's the spirit of the 12-step programs, and it's really the spirit of all authentic spiritual practice, is the practice of giving and of service. And you all know that. You wouldn't be here if you didn't know that. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about the forms. No, first I'm going to do something else, which is Noah kind of started along a direction that I wanted to go, which is pointing out where people are here from. But I actually want to get into a little bit more detail and point out a bunch of individuals who are here, who I think are important for this movement, and I want to put this in the context of you guys need to get to know each other. That's what we should do here. Not just like, oh, nice to meet you, where you're from, but really, there's some people here that each of you need to connect with. And I don't know who they are for each individual, but they are here. And when you connect, you're going to go, oh, and that's going to help you to go forward in what you need to do in the Buddhist Recovery Network. That's a prediction. I don't often make them. Jeffrey McIntyre over here. Would you just raise your hand, Jeffrey? He's been leading a group at the Boston Shambhala Center for a couple of years at least. Right? 3.5 years. Hard of recovery. Great group, big group. A lot of inspiration there. Martha Hilder from the Colorado Denver Shambhala Center has been leading a group there for years. She took the first AA meetings up to the Shambhala Mountain Center, which needed them.
Somebody to follow up. I can't do it anymore.
She can't do it anymore. She needs help. Thai, the Vietnamese Buddhist monk, works in a treatment center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The only Buddhist monk that I know of in our country who's working in treatment. Also has his own temple there where he serves the Vietnamese community. And I'm sure the greater Buddhist community there. I met him at an addiction conference in Las Vegas last year. So, you never know where you're going. Alex Holt, Zen practitioner, a Unitarian minister, who has started the addictions ministry with the Unitarian Universalist Church for the North America. Leads groups in his churches. He's a wandering, itinerant minister. That's just a few of the faces that I see out here that are already doing this work in different ways, many different ways, manifest in different ways. And really, it was coming in here this morning. I'm a pessimist. I'm an aversive type, if you know the Buddhist types. Noah's a greed type. I think I'll open a center. I think I'll put out some books and I'm the runaway from stuff. So we were talking yesterday. I was like, I don't know, the Buddhist Recovery Network, and he's going to fizzle out. He's like, no, it's moving forward. But it was when I walked in here this morning and I saw the faces of a lot of my friends, people that I know from all over the country, who are doing this work. I was, oh my God, this is really awesome. This is great. And I know many of the people that I don't know here are doing similar work and have similar stories probably. And, so get to know me, and maybe I'll mention you from the podium next time. You can be inflated. So we don't have much time, but I thought I would, the way I actually conceived this talk, which I wrote a couple days ago, I mean, I had the title 9 months ago, okay, was to talk about some of the forms that Buddhist recovery has taken, that we know of. And to acknowledge that even the idea of recovery from addiction really wasn't realistic, or even many people didn't think it was even possible before the founding of Alcoholics Anonymous. So whatever our feelings are about the 12 steps or AA or all the other programs, we kind of have to acknowledge that that's the grandfather of all this. Even if we completely reject their ideas, if there wasn't something to reject, we probably wouldn't be here. But a lot of what Buddhist recovery work involves is either creating alternatives to that kind of work, or trying to enhance it or expand it. Some people are maybe trying to discredit it, but and I think that's okay too. I mean, I think that's part of this, the energy of working in recovery. It's a really stubborn problem, and nobody's found the answers. For those who know my work, my approach has been to take the 12 steps and try to understand them through the teachings of Buddhism, especially using meditation as a core tool for recovery. And I see meditation as a way of approaching all 12 steps, not just the 11th step. People like Alan Morlat, would you mind raising your hand, Alan? One of our board members, and really the preeminent addiction researcher in our country. If you read anything on addiction research by anyone, they refer to Alan's work, because he was the first to do it. And when we first met, I asked him how he got into the business, and I'm sure I'll misquote you, but I think the spirit of it, when Alan was in school and a graduate student, went to his advisor and said, I want to go into addiction research. And his advisor said, don't do it, it's a black hole. It's like, nobody was doing that in 1977. This wasn't considered to be a way to go. So, but Alan was determined and now runs the Addictions Behaviors Research Center at the University of Washington, and is pretty much worldwide expert, invited all over the world. I'm jealous of a lot of his travels. I can follow his itinerary. But he's taking mindfulness and trying to really study whether mindfulness really can help people with addiction. And I think this is obviously one of the ways that we all connect with the value of Buddhist teachings. So that's one of the really vital threads, the research thread, that's going to give credibility to what we're talking about. Something I'm too impatient for that, to wait around for the results to come in. I just say, well, this is what happened to me. So I do research on myself. Is Vince Cullen here? Vince, greetings. Vince has worked with the Brahma Prabhat Monastery in Thailand. And this is real Buddhist recovery. We think we have, oh yeah, come do our little thing. Well, you go there, they take your clothes and shave your head, dress you up in a orange robe, and then they give you a nice little herbal concoction, which will make you vomit. And they do that for you every day until you're detoxed for about a week. You do that?
5 days.
5 days. And then you take the Buddhist precepts, or you probably take the Buddhist precepts at the beginning. Take the Buddhist precepts.
Which is know that they, strangely enough, don't adhere to the 5 precepts, but they have their own satya, their own vow. Never taking drugs or alcohol.
Right.
That's taken at the start.
Right, so there's a vow taken, which is a very traditional Buddhist approach to just spiritual work. But to make this a very specific vow to not ever use drugs and alcohol again. A lot of junkies have had success there, particularly. I know a bunch of Aussies headed out there. So this is another Buddhist recovery, right? And Vince is going to have a piece in the, unfortunately, we haven't got him on this program, but you should hit him up for conversation while you're here. Just an aside, maybe more than an aside, I'm guest editing, if you know the Inquiring Mind magazine, and you should, it's a Buddhist journal that's given out free, it's from the Vipassana community. I'm guest editing their spring edition, and it's going to be on addiction and recovery. And Vince is going to have a piece in there, which they loved your piece when you submitted it, and which will tell really much more detail about the program there.